here. Let me see. Every time I do this shit, I always learn something new. Every time. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have that up there right there. Yeah. This cat right here talks about propaganda and and the exploitation of people. And he makes a good point because a lot of this shit that we be thinking about, man, ain't nothing but exploitation, exploiting somebody for a reason. Why would you? The reason why I started this is because I keep hearing people talk about how the government's doing this and doing that and taking rights from people and shit. Why would they go so far as to take stuff from poor people if the power didn't lie with these people? See, we gotta understand, man. United States ain't just an average country. I can understand if they was doing this shit in Mexico, Canada. Those are like third and second world countries and shit. They can get away with shit like that, where the population is so fucking broke that they can't even afford bullets to put in their guns. That's the whole reason being for most of their issues. It's not the country that's the problem. It's the people that's in the country that's the problem. Because when you can't even get bullets to put in your gun to protect yourself from people that, you know, are just as weak as you are, but the only reason why they have power is because you gave it to them, then now you see that America is one of them countries. We are the exception, man. We always been the exception. Since the country started. This place has been the exception because when we didn't have bullets for guns or guns for bullets or either one, the people would stand up and defend themselves to the death. And that wasn't because they were at war with the government. That was because it was a fundamental right, by creation. It's a fundamental right. The animals do it. The animals will protect themselves, then the humans should protect themselves as well. It's just a lot of this stuff is hard to see when there's so many answers right in front of our face and shit, man. And nobody's actually trying to discover anything. This is not a discovery type thing, man. When we come into this situation where somebody's trying to take advantage of us, be it you know uh, law enforcement, government, or just your neighbor and shit. What we should be thinking about is long term, because that's what everybody's trying to achieve. They're trying to live a long life, so we should be thinking about long term. If you get into a situation with your neighbor, you're gonna have to live with that shit for a long time, or until you move or they move and shit like that. Until then, it's gonna be constant. It's gonna be sustained combat. It's gonna be, you let your guard down, that's when shit occurs. Why do people even allow themselves to be sucked into situations like that where they make their home a prison? It's because people want to imprison others. This is the thing that I don't realize. If you are a good person and your neighbor's not, who is supposed to uh, take steps towards diplomacy? Them or you? And see, diplomacy starts like this. You either match the energy of that person, or you exceed the limit, or you unachieve it, like you go under theirs. Because somebody has to give way to some type of like parlay or some shit. Somebody has to be like, hey man, this ain't going nowhere. We're gonna end up doing this shit for as long as we own this motherfucker. And on top of that, you gonna hit me, I'm gonna hit you, and we're gonna end up losing hitters. So if you care about your people, like I care about mine, let's just squash this shit. And that's how diplomacy begins. But you know what it is? A lot of people don't care about other people's people. A lot of people don't care about anybody else but themselves. And when you see people like that, the best thing to do is to disassociate yourself. I'm talking about family as well. Disassociate yourself because look, you don't know what life has done to certain people. And your family might not look at you like family. They might not have that same moralistic outlook on, two people born into the same lineage. They're not gonna have that shit. So you gotta treat every situation as if it was new. And I see a lot of us are backpedaling on that shit. We allow our people to do certain shit that we wouldn't we damn sure wouldn't allow other people to do to us. But we do that because we have some type of bias. So when we identify that, man, we shouldn't pacify that and be like, yeah, I would look out for my people too. Fuck everybody. Well, then how are you trying to create something together if if it ain't about me, it's fuck you. I think it's silly that people are still walking around here talking about some of the shit that they talking about. For instance, what you know, uh, tariffs are going to do to the price of goods to us when tariffs don't have shit to do with us. Tariffs don't have shit to do with you and me. We're not part of the government. At least I'm not anymore. So a tariff ain't going to affect me locally. What's going to affect me is the people that's using that excuse to bring the hammer down on me. For instance, as soon as the government starts talking about stuff, local government starts trying to swing it so they can benefit off of it. And this is what I got into a conversation with somebody about not too long ago. When we looking at government, we shouldn't be looking at it from a broad spectrum. We should be looking at it with a magnifying glass because that's how small the shit is that's actually affecting us. It's very small. Every state has a small government. It's tailored to only accommodate a few people within it, like the alderman, the public organizer, the treasurer, the accountant, the mayor, the assistant mayor, the governor, the assistant governor. You can count all of those people on both hands. Now, the people that work up under him, these are delegates, just like we are. We are delegates too. And see, when what they don't do with us is delegate any authority to us. And that's because we already have that you can't delegate something to somebody that they gave to you. We gave them the authority. They can't turn around and delegate it to us. But when we notice that these people are stepping beyond their bounds, like for instance, there shouldn't be anything in legislature or in laws that affect the public or to affect private citizens. Meaning, like if something affects you that the government put out, then they're not your government. They're opposition to your government because your government is supposed to do things that support you, assist you, and shit like that. That's why you hired them. You hired them to manage your affairs in government, not to fucking put you under some type of restraint and hold you hostage for 4 or 5 years as long as they there. And see, this is the reason why shit's like this happen. This is why gas is fucking almost $5. This is why eggs are fucking $11 right now. It's because we're looking at fucking big government. We're looking at the federal government when we should be looking local, man. We need to make sure that the people that we hire and elect locally are fighting for us and not for some other foreign entity like the federal government. If your government is fighting for the foreign government, that means that they're not the people you elected anymore. It's time to replace them. And it doesn't take that many people to recall an election. It doesn't, man. And I don't see why we got these people in these communities talking about some, I don't vote. I don't make sure. I don't deal with politics. That's not for me to deal with. But then you up here bitching about what the motherfuckers that are in office are doing. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense because, for one, you're the one that gave them the power. When you are not participating in the system that you created or helped create or your family created or helped create, then guess what? You are allowing them to do whatever they're doing to you. There's no reason why eggs in one region are a certain price, you know what I'm saying? And then over in another region, right next door, it's another price. I can understand capitalism, man, but there should be a limit to things that they can capitalize on. And that's why we deal with government, to limit the things that they can capitalize on. They shouldn't have no fucking say in the food we eat, the water we drink, not in a way that they can control how much of that shit we get for the price that we pay. I was talking to I made a video not too long ago, and I know why my videos don't get traction, because I'm making these videos anonymously, just like I'm making this one right now. And I'm trying to stay anonymous because that's what actually, it's my right. It's our right to protect our privacy. When you expose yourself to the public, you expose yourself to public motherfuckers that don't respect privacy. And I'm not saying they're going to come after you and harm you, but I don't want people contacting me at all hours of the night and, questioning me on my affairs and shit like that, bringing unnecessary attention to shit that shouldn't be. You know, Government is a public thing, but not what happens in my house. That's not public. That's private. And for people not to understand that is weird to me, because I feel like everybody is willing to expose themselves just for this little spotlight that these platforms give us. I mean, we haven't noticed that these people are willing to go to great lengths to violate the protected rights that the government that we created put up restrictions against. We can't we can't see that this is how this shit works. But when we have these fringe people on the side that are willing to go through this stuff just to get that spotlight, they're the ones that's muddying the water, because believe it or not, they make up the majority of people that's actually on this thing. Look at the people that are willing to go on TV, go on video, and make a fool of themselves every day. They're the ones that are saying, "Oh, it's okay to take away my privacy. It's okay to know all my business. It's okay to expose my children to the public. It's okay to, you know, have the government come into my life for some shit that I did on the internet. It's okay for that shit to happen." But then there's people like me that are saying, "Hey, man, this shit ain't supposed to affect your real life. This is supposed to be something you do as an outlet. This ain't supposed to be your real life." Because, see, when you lay down at night, you're not that person you pretend to be on the internet. And I know a lot of people, they take pride in that shit. "Oh, I ain't scared to show my face. I ain't this, I ain't that." But, nigga, when you walking down the street minding your own business and the motherfucker recognize you from the internet, then they don't like what you said. It's on and popping. You see, this is why we need to know the difference between public and private. And we need to exercise these differences, because when you do, you become a powerful figure in both realms. At home, you're able to protect your identity. It's like being a superhero. I mean, everybody on the internet uses movies for analogies for serious shit, which I don't understand Why? Because it just makes us look stupid when we only refer to a movie to make our point. Like, you better watch this because it said that and it said this. Well, I got enough personal and private experiences to get my point across on any subject that I plan to talk about. I have enough public know-how to not put my private in the public to get that point across as well. I mean, come on, man. I see how people are relentless when it comes to, exposing one another and doing shit to each other that pretty much is not what this stuff was about. It wasn't. The internet wasn't supposed to be used to exploit people's privacy. It was used to actually, assist you in being private. Like, you can go on the internet and order something and nobody know who the shit's being sent to, and it comes to your house and you receive it under the privacy of your own home. That's how it's supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be, all your personal information put out on the internet for people to pick and choose on what they want to put out. It got like that because we have these fringe people who voluntarily did it to themselves. Now they feel fucked up about it, and now they want everybody to be exposed. Like, ain't nobody safe from this shit now. And that's why you got to look at them for what they really are. These people are not like you, man. They've already gone to the point where they've cut off that part of themselves that was like you. They've exposed themselves to the point where you can't take any of that shit back. And even though they get off the internet, that shit is still on there. We need to know how important this stuff is. Why do you think the cops ask you for ID? Because once they learn your identity, they take away your power. They take away your most powerful asset, bro. It's secrecy. It's freaking, privacy. They even teach us to look at secrecy like it's a bad thing. And when they talk about protecting private citizens, hold on. So you don't want us to keep secrets, but you want to protect our privacy. How can that shit be? How can it be? You know why? Because once they take away your privacy, then they can hit you from all different angles. They can hit you financially. They can hit you, fucking personally. They can hit you, when you least expect it, through the people that you least expect to be used. Protect your privacy, y'all. Protect who you are from the people that want to expose it, because it's very important. It's not hard once a person finds out who you are to find out every little issue that you have and expose it. And we got people that'll say, I don't give a fuck. I ain't got nothing to hide. Yes, you do. You got a lot of shit to hide. Everybody has a lot of shit to hide. You know why? Because you have family. And your family might not want their shit out there. So that's one thing to hide. You got people that rely on you to protect them. And that also means their integrity and their privacy. They rely on you to do that. If you feel like you don't have nothing to hide, then go ahead. Put your social security, your birth date, your picture, everything on the internet so everybody can see it. And then you've accomplished your mission. But no, we have these, what do they call them? These agents of fucking chaos that's running around this bitch, that's allowing this stuff to happen to them, hence making it reasonable for it to happen to us. And that's crazy, man. It's crazy. Local government, your politicians, they go to great lengths to hide themselves from you. They go to great lengths to protect themselves because they know that the shit that they're doing is affecting large numbers of people. So you know what they do? They don't go out in public and have dinner at public restaurants like you do. They don't go to work out at public gyms like you do. They don't go to public grocery stores and shop and buy the same shit you do. They hide themselves from that. They pay other people to do that. You know why? Because they have a fear of the public that they are betraying when they get into office. So now they have to take certain measures to protect themselves, not only, you know, on a privacy level, but on an actual physical protection of your body level. Because some people feel like, hey man, the government's so big that we can't do anything to it besides target individuals. When that's not the case, man. It's not the case. The government didn't start off big like this. It started off small, and throughout time, people were allowed certain things in the government. And just like we allowed it, we can disallow it. You know, it takes time to put on the extra weight, and it's going to take you time to take it off too as well. But you got to stay consistent, and also you got to do things that you wouldn't necessarily do when you were putting on weight. Now that you're starting to take it off, now you're going to have to start cutting off certain things that you were allowing to happen to yourself, like binge eating, emotional eating, and shit like that. Same thing with the government. You know, binge policies and binge fucking laws and shit like that. Did you know that a policy, a law, are two different things? An act and something like a statute are the same. But they try to say an act and a statute are laws, but they're not. You know why? Because the everybody else. Like we got uh these people in our communities. I'm just gonna say it, that believe that government is stupid, that we're giving them our energy, and that's why the reason why we're getting done like this. No, that's not the reason why. The reason why we're getting done like this is because of them. See, if they wasn't there to sabotage you, to be like, I told you so, I told you the government was like this. And what I mean by sabotage is by not participating. They know that when it comes to voting, that numbers matter. So by not showing up, it's a sabotage. So you wondering why you having such a hard time getting certain things to pass through government? Look at the motherfucker that's standing next to you. Talking about something, I told you government was fucked up. They're the ones that are assisting them. You know why? Because if there's nobody to stand up to this shit, then it just gets perpetrated on everybody. And see, for the people that's talking about government is fucked up and they don't want to deal with government, they are satisfied with the trauma. They satisfied with it. And they want you to trauma bond with them. They're like, hey man, it's just fucked up. Come on, hang over here with me so we can complain about it. And hopefully one day somebody will do something. No, man, the time to do something is right now. And the only way you're gonna get it done is to remove what's wrong with you. Come on, man. We can't figure this shit out. And I hate to say it, man. It's most of the people that's doing this stuff are our own people. Our own people. They over here telling these fictitious ass stories. They lying about what happened to them, and they want everybody else to fall into that virtue signaling trade where everybody's just down on their luck, can't get nothing done. You know, it's always a plot against you, which on many occasions it is. But at the same time, they don't give you a remedy on how to fix the shit. They just tell you to give the fuck up. Give it up. When hundreds of years have passed and people didn't give up on the situation, that's why we're in the position we're in. As the public, we have a lot of power when it comes to what happens to us. We just got to think about it when we, start to act or react to the shit that's being done. The marching shit was that right there was a psyop a long time ago. Marching and protesting. Man, did you know that all marches and protests have to be sanctioned by the government, by the local government? Meaning you got to go down there and talk to the same people that you're protesting and marching against, and you got to beg them for a permit or, at least for, some type of amnesty while you're out there doing this shit. You can't just go out there and get a group of people together and get some signs and start picking and walking down the street, blocking traffic and shit like that. You can't just do that because that goes against good order and discipline or good order in public. So guess what? You got to go out there and you got to ask these people, hey, we want to stage a protest because that's what it is. It's all staged. None of it's like organic. None of it just starts at the time that things actually go wrong. No, it's all planned. It's all staged. It's like an act. Matter of fact, it is an act. Ain't nobody protests ever in history were actually doing it from the bottom of their heart. They all did it as actors. Name them, any one of them. Name any of these people that have ever done public protests where they've gotten up and they've talked to large numbers of people on behalf of those people. Has always been an act. Imagine the best actor you've ever seen on TV, and then they come to your aid, and you find out that they're doing it for money. You're gonna feel a certain kind of way. Oh, so he only here because motherfuckers is paid him. He ain't really come here because he feel a certain kind of way what these people's doing to us. He came here because he looking at the bag. He about to get a bag after this. See, if you found that out, if you knew that, and that is what's happening, that is what's happening on every occasion. There is no occasion where any marches, any protests, you go all the way back to the civil rights and the Jim Crow era, all of that was for money. It was all staged. It was all hired actors playing like they actually care about the communities that they serve when they ain't even living in the motherfucker. See, I heard people talk about something. You know what? We need to have police officers that police their own areas that they live in. But they do that for a reason. You know why? Because if they can get you to police your own area, then whatever happens in that area affects you. They don't want you to police your own area because they don't want you to feel the ramifications of the things that you fucking doing. It's like shitting in your own house, in your living room, when you got a perfectly good bathroom back there. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they don't want you to do because a lot of these cops come straight to these areas and neighborhoods and they take a shit right in the center of the streets. They take a shit right in the center of town. And guess who has to clean it up? You do. Because when they come there and they fucking beat your ass or shoot you up or do all the shit that they do, guess who pays for it? You do. All the money that the city and the town and the state collects from your ass is what they use to pay your ass with. But see, this is where the fuckery comes into play because people are satisfied. They're actually willing to go through all of that shit just to get back their money that nobody else is getting back. You should feel cheated when you win a lawsuit against a state at a city that you live in. You should feel cheated because guess what? You ain't doing nothing but paying yourself. And if you feel satisfied after you get paid by yourself, then you a dumbass. You're a dumbass. And the people that hang around with you are dumbasses too because you just stole from yourself. You just stole from your community. I understand people want money, they greedy and shit like that, but for the expense of your own, you willing to portray them. That should tell you what the type of people we living with and the type of people we working with, especially the motherfuckers that be talking about don't participate, don't do this, don't do that. But then they'll sit up there and tell you, oh, I'm going to fight for my people. How you going to fight for your people when you telling them to quit everything that matters? How you going to be a leader when you telling them as a leader now to give up all they fucking rights, to give up all they work for, all they family worked for, all they family went through all of these years to make it so we can fight for ourselves through the power of the pen. And now you want to say, nah, get rid of all of that. They want you to go out there and physically fight now. So you want to fight the government? Oh, you don't do it at the ballot box. You go out there and you target them right? And you try to intimidate them when you ain't got no fucking advantage. We ain't got no advantage. Most of y'all don't even know how to handle yourselves in violent situations, but want to put yourself in violence in right in front of it. You got older people. You got no. You not. It's just not older people. It's young people too. We got these revolution-minded people that want to see us all out there fighting because they think that's the way it is. But you think that they're gonna be out there first? Hell no. They can set the example anytime they want. They can go out there and stand on what they be talking about. But you think they do that shit? Hell no, they don't do that shit. You know why? Because they rather see you out there doing it than them. Because they feel like I told you about it. I made this, made you aware of this. So now you should be able to go out there and do this. I did my job. No, man. Do not follow these people. They entertaining, and yeah, they make a lot of noise, but they ain't got your best interest in mind. They don't even have their own family's best interest in mind. Because if they did, they wouldn't be holding them back. They would be trying to show them how to get out there and get it by utilizing these systems and these programs that our people established. How you gonna tell somebody, oh, fuck the government and they on public assistance? So fuck the public assistance? How you gonna tell somebody, don't vote when voting for somebody to make your life better is what all of this shit is about? So don't vote for nobody. Allow the stupid motherfuckers to vote. And the stupid motherfuckers will put stupider people in office that'll do stupid shit. That's what they want you to do. And they sit back and they proud of this shit. I don't vote. I hear people talk about that shit. I don't vote. So I ain't got a dog in the fight. Well, why you even talking then? If you ain't gonna try to help solve the problem, why are you even talking about the problem? It's like motherfuckers don't want to talk about, a relationship that they fucked up in a relationship that they trying to build. Why would I talk about an old fucked up relationship that I lost in to a new one that I'm trying to build? I don't understand. And see, the new relationship is everybody that's coming up right now in the system that's just now starting to wrap their mind around what's coming or what's happening. They no longer children no more. So the new relationship is theirs that they have to build with the government. And they should be allowed to do that without dumbass niggas telling them that your government's bad when they've been using this shit all they fucking life. We got niggas that been working for the government for 67 years, and now that they got their retirement and they got their fucking pensions and they get money every month from the government and they feel like they getting over, oh, now they can talk shit about it and make you feel bad about trying to do the same thing they did. That's garbage, man. That is garbage. You know why they do that shit? Because they actors. They actors. Because if they was really about that life, about fucking the government, about making shit better, they would fucking say, hey, I don't want that check no more. I don't want that pension no more. I could do it by myself. I got my people. We could build something. No, they ain't doing that. They not doing that. They sitting back collecting that money and they will kill your ass over that money. But they'll shame you for trying to get that money. See, this is why we run into so many issues at home. Because the motherfuckers we living with are self-destructive. They destroying themselves. And then they'll get a little bit of money and move out of the neighborhood. That should tell you right there that they can see the problem and they know what the solution is. Get the fuck away from y'all. They get the fuck away from the problem. That's what they see as the problem. So when we're out here doing this shit and we're talking about how we're going to change things and how things are going to, we're going to make certain things happen, think about it, man. Are these people really trying to change shit? Because if they did, they would run out of talking points. They would lose their spotlight. They would lose their spotlight. If they really wanted to change government and they know that voting is the way to change it, they would do it. They would use their platform that they've created to complain about the government, and they would say, hey, y'all, all y'all in my chat right now, y'all need to, if you live in my area, we need to go down here and vote on this date on this bill because this is the reason why, and this is why how we're going to change things. That right there is powerful. That's a leader right there. But when you sitting back talking about something, man, I ain't going to vote for these cocksuckers. I ain't giving them my power. What power? What, you some kind of magician? I heard a dude say magic with the K. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. That's what, ecstasy and fucking ketamine mix? You over there talking about drugs and people think you talking about some inspirational and spiritual shit. You actually talking about magic with the K. Get the, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And see, and won't fucking do without anything. Won't do without anything. People that are getting shit won't give up what they getting to make sure that you get the same thing. Hell no, man. They will not do without shit. They won't do without shit. They come on these platforms and these platforms pay them. You see who getting paid? The characters, the actors, the pretenders. They're the ones getting paid. And if there's a real person getting paid, he ain't getting paid openly. He getting paid behind the scenes because you know why? That's a privacy thing. But I see most of these guys, when they start getting paid from these platforms, the first thing they do is, oh, they bling the fuck up. They got to get sharp, boy. They have to actually make you feel jealous. That's the whole mission. Niggas gonna like, they gonna hate me after seeing this. You see what I'm saying? They gonna hate me. Man, that's a dangerous that's a dangerous thing, man. When you living around a bunch of people who ain't got shit, but you get something at their expense, and then you come back and flaunt it in their face. That's dangerous, man. I was listening to a guy earlier, man. Shouts out to this brother, man. These brothers have proved, man, that slavery didn't exist. They didn't prove it. But then they putting themselves in another bondage. They take themselves out of one and put themselves in another. So slavery doesn't never existed. Never did. There's no manifest. There is no bill of sales. None of that shit. Just words. Just motherfuckers sitting up there saying, I enslaved him, he enslaved him, and that's a slave. When at the time these words were not used in that, like for instance, the word treaty. We think of treaties today as like two motherfuckers getting together on the battlefield and saying, I'm not going to kill you no more. You're not going to kill me no more. And we're going to be peaceful friends. See, a treaty is not an agreement between two generals on the battlefield or two governments in an office trying to stop a war. A treaty is a contract. That's what a treaty is. And they used to call these things treaties. When you used to go work for a company, they would say, hey, if you agree to the terms of this treaty, then you can start work next Monday. Now they call it contract. If you agree to the terms of this contract, you can start work on Monday. You see, but these people, they know the power of words. They know that if you say a word a certain way, or if it sounds a certain way, and we emphasize on it, put a little, emotion behind it, that people will lose their fucking mind every time you say it. Just like the Crips will lose their mind if a motherfucker walk around them and say, "What's up, blood?" Them niggas will go crazy. Like somebody just took a shot at them with a gun, point blank. And they willing to kill for that shit. See? Just like the Crips. In 100 years, the Crips and the Bloods, all these fucking little street gangs, the Sinaloas, the damn Northaniels, the Sudaniels, the Great Streets, the Back Streets, the 29th Streets, all of these gangs are going to be spoken of just like all of these tribes. The Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Blackfoots. Man, those are all associations, aka gangs. That's what they are. Motherfuckers weren't really Indians. They wasn't really doing that shit. They was just a bunch of niggas out in the trap house talking shit. Yeah, we gonna move. We gonna go do this. We gonna go do that. Got together, had a couple people that had some charisma, called themselves chiefs, went down there to the office, or incorporated the fucking name and made themselves the CEO, the chief in charge, all right? The commander in chief. Come on, man. These people they been lying to y'all, man. They got y'all up here doing genealogy, finding these gangs from the past. You're doing genealogy, finding these gangs from the past. And the brother that I was talking about earlier, that said that proved that slavery didn't exist, turn around and tell everybody now that the tribe leaders took money to move the tribe from one place to another place in the United States, from one piece of land to another. So you know what they told me? It didn't take me that long to come to this conclusion. The nigga sold the land and didn't tell nobody about it. And then told everybody they kicking us off the land when he got a pocket full of motherfucking money, walking with him, acting like he's struggling. You see what I'm saying? Probably didn't even do that. Probably told him, I'll meet y'all there, and jumped on the plane and flew there. Set up shop for himself. So when y'all came, y'all saw, hey, ain't no but one house on the property. Y'all gonna have to build y'all own. I'm telling you, man, this shit is wicked. These niggas been doing this shit to themselves all these years, blaming it on somebody else, making you think that you're the one that's at fault. It's weird. Hold on, I think I had a disconnect. Let me check this real quick. Because, I think that this shit needs to be exposed, man. It needs to be exposed by somebody that knows how to carry themselves in these environments. See, there's not too many people that know how to carry themselves in these environments, that know how to stay below the radar. There's not too many people that's like that. Let me check real quick because my sound went off earlier. All right, that's cool. All right, hopefully I'm connected back. And I went off earlier, man, because I got these damn earbuds in. But yeah, man, I made a video the other day about how the United States then said, screw the grid. I made a video the other day. You would think that people would be interested in knowing that. Because if they did, then they can come to their state officials and be like, hold on, you guys are charging us the same price as if we was on the grid a couple years ago. But now that we found out we weren't, why haven't we got a break? Why haven't we got, some kickbacks for our efforts? Same thing with the gas. Every state, every motherfucking municipality has its own oil wells. You would think that California would be buying all their oil from places in the United States and abroad. No, them motherfuckers, they make their own oil. They make their own gasoline right there in their own state. Just like all the electricity that's made is made right there in your state. And it ain't made by no damn generators. You talking about there's millions of people with solar panels on their houses. That's getting money back. That's getting credits towards their bill. And you don't think that why are they giving them credits for their bill? Because they're producing electricity for everybody else around them. For everybody else around them. They said that the amount of space that they need to put up solar panels to power the entire United States, Canada, and Mexico would only be 17,000 square miles, about the size, a little bit smaller than West Virginia. Now, let's say if we took that and we spread that across the country, that little 17,000 square feet, we spread it across the country. You know what they said? They said we would need over 7 billion solar panels, right, to support the usage per year of 17, or now I would say about 13,000 kilowatt hours. That's how much they say we use, 13,000 kilowatts annually, a year. When the solar that we produce is 300 times that. The energy we produce with these solar panels on our houses, right, make up almost 200,000 kilowatts per year, compared to what they say we need, 12 to 13,000 kilowatts. See, these people ain't telling us what we need to know, man. They put this shit in code, and ain't nobody smart enough to realize it. Instead of putting out a message in one format, that means in one article from one newsstand, no, they put out the same story, break it up, and spread it around to all these news places. So you'll get a piece here, you get a piece there, get a piece there. And if you can't fucking consolidate all of this shit and get a clear understanding of it, you lost. And that's what a lot of people are. They cannot consolidate the information because it's spread out amongst so many channels of media that they can't figure it out. It's crazy. Yeah. What's up, boy? Gotcha. Oh. Yeah. I can't figure it out, man. If they did, they wouldn't have to have so many people keep telling them what's going on. Motherfuckers can't even read a book and understand what an allegory is and figure out what the allegory means. No, they gotta go and huddle up in a big ass building and scream and holler at each other all day. And then pay for it. You see what I'm saying? They gotta go to church and learn how to read the Bible. Because niggas ain't learned the proper use of the English language in school. And that was done on purpose, man. That was done on purpose. Reading is the most important part of education. Math, not so much. As long as you know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you're fine. All that other shit, that higher learning math and stuff like that, yeah, you would need that to learn shit like engineering, construction. Yeah, you would learn that. Learn that if you're going for that type of profession. But if you're not, man, the basics is all you need. But in English, man, you need to learn all the facets of English. Every aspect of it. That's our primary way of communication. That's the primary way of communication. The first poets were the scholars that learned the ins and outs of the English language. And when they did that, they figured out that, hey, we can hide shit in plain sight in front of these motherfuckers, and they wouldn't even know it. Tell them about Jack and Jill. Yeah, great nursery rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Don't even realize these motherfuckers is telling you about a disease that they spread upon everybody. Tell them about Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, but they ain't gonna tell you about how they assassinated King George. You see, they're not gonna tell you that, but that's the story though. And the reason why they make these stories, these allegorical stories, is so they could pass their history down, unbeknownst to the people that are repeating it, and only the people that are the adepts, the ones that actually study language, can figure it out. And they're usually the ones that, get the message. And they're all on the same team. So I hear people talk about, how they hate the government, how they don't vote and all that shit. I be thinking to myself, man, you ain't nothing but a saboteur. You sabotage your own people, man. Because you tell them, don't fix your situation. Just let the situation stay the way it is. The longer it stay the way it is, the better off we are. Because guess what? Eventually, it's going to destroy itself. See? And that's what this is. This ain't nothing but propaganda. This guy that's on the screen right here, Manly P. Hall, was a scholar, a poet, an abolitionist. He was all of that bullshit. But he's telling you, man, that people are easily manipulated, easily. And he led a lot of people to their destruction. He did too. I mean, because if you allowing people to take advantage of you, why shouldn't I? And that's the bad part about this shit. We'll stop looking at our own family, our own kids, like something worth being protected, and start looking at them as something that could be sacrificed. Man, that's horrible, man. And we wonder why these young kids out here doing what they doing, why they crashing out. Because we crashed out a long time ago, man. We crashed out when we allowed these motherfuckers to make us go out there and march and get sprayed by fucking water hoses and bit by dogs and beat the fuck up by police. We let them talk us into this. What type of intellect would allow somebody to tell them to put themselves in harm's way for the greater good when there's so many other different ways you could do that? Marching never got any of those people anything. Protesting never got any of them to do anything. Look at what happened on January 6th. What? They told him to go down there, meet us down at the White House. Did any of the people that told him to go down there initially, for instance, Trump, was he there to meet them? Was he there to make sure that they did what they said they were going to do? No. He probably went back to Mar-a-Lago, chilled out, and watched the shit from home. Telling you, man, because he knew, even though I got good intentions, all of these dumb motherfuckers are liable to do anything. They're liable to do anything. They ain't nothing but a bunch of animals. A herd. They got a herd mentality. They even follow the motherfucker into the building wearing animal skins. Come on, man. It can't be more obvious how they did that shit. You mean to tell me that they couldn't see that they were being set up? They were being set up. And imagine all the people that went to jail and has been in jail for all these years, only to be set free by the motherfucker that put them there. By the motherfucker that put them there. Either he put them there purposely or, by accident. There would have been no reason for them people to go down there to the White House to protest an election that they said was fraudulent. If it's fraudulent, nigga, why the fuck are we protesting? It ain't like we got to prove it to nobody. This shit's fraudulent. Now it's your turn to use the legal system to fix that bitch. But no, they want you to go out there and make a scene. And all of them people was targeted for no fucking reason all of these years, locked up in jail for all these years, just to put the same motherfucker that did it to him back into office to turn around and say, you're free. That's a type of sacrifice I'm not willing to take. But hey, nigga, if you want, I'll revote 20 times. Make it happen. Call a revote. I'll revote, nigga. But I'm not going out there and following some half-naked motherfucker in a buffalo helmet talking about he gonna save, some shit by protesting. This nigga was the most patriotic shaman I've seen in my whole life. And then he ended up going to jail. And not just for no couple days. This nigga stayed in jail for a whole couple years. God damn, boy, you gotta feel pissed. And that's what they want to do. They want to make you feel resentment about the people you associate with, about your communities. You know why? Because that division is going to give them more time to fucking plot and scheme and cause more shit to happen. This will never be popular. Never. This will never be something that people will say, listen to this. You know why? Because it exposes so many people for the shitholes that they really are. It exposes them. We think our biggest problem, man, is homosexuality and fucking tariffs. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Man, homo's been around for so many years, man. Let them motherfuckers be, man. Let them motherfuckers be. Them motherfuckers need to shut the fuck up. Keep their business to themselves. And we need to stop fucking talking to them and asking them how it feels. Like they some kind of odyssey or some shit. That's the reason why shit is happening the way it is. And y'all religious motherfuckers don't know shit. Y'all up here fighting against the same motherfuckers your Bible say was gonna take over shit. Who you think the meek is? Y'all some reap. Y'all reap what you sow, motherfucker. Who you think the meek was? You think the meek were gentle? No, man. The meek were the weak, or what they perceived to be weak. And it was a weakness for a man not to be able to procreate. That's a weakness. And they called them meek. They also called the fucking eunuchs meek. You see what I'm saying? They would take men, castrate them, and those were the meek. Those are the ones that they allowed to run government and to do certain things for them. Those are the ones. That actually was a prerequisite back in the day to be in higher office, to be head of the church. You had to be a person that practiced abstinence or someone that was willing to go through mental, physical, and chemical castration. That's why most of these people, man, they were put in these positions because they were willing to take the sacrifice. But now they ain't willing to take the sacrifice. So now we gotta just deal with what we dealing with. And that's fine. But at some point we gotta stop allowing these progressive haters, the progress haters, to run shit. We gotta start running this shit on our own. And salutes to y'all out there that showed up to this, man, because I don't do these rants too often. But I'm gonna start doing them more often, man, because I hear people making rants about stupid shit, you know, confusing a whole bunch of people, man. And we need more people out there that practice civility, that practice civil minded shit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there ain't no such thing as a civil minded gang member. Ain't no such thing. The games that they play aren't civil at all. It's not designed to be. It's designed for you as a young person to be used by older people to do their bidding until you become the older person and you get you a lackey, a younger lackey, to do your bidding. So I don't see joining any clubs, association, gangs, tribes, nations, any of that shit being productive when it comes to civility, when it comes to being a civilized person. And I know to some people being civilized is like a death sentence. because they don't know nothing else besides chaos. And then you practice what you preach. These people, they preach the chaos. They practice the chaos. They talk about this shit every day. And the people that show up to their little speeches and talks are slowly being corroded and broken down into the point where they can't resist the ignorance. So they end up being pulled back into the shit. And that's how we end up with the situations that we do with the youth, killing each other, destroying each other. Because most of these things that are being done, especially in these inner cities, they been done by old niggas. Old niggas ain't got that fire up in them no more. But they know how to. They got that gift of gab. And they got that silver tongue that they can manipulate these young boys with, and then they might have a little bit of money that they can flash in these boys' face. Because I'm telling you right now, ain't none of these young boys out here doing this shit solo. They not. They learn all they tricks and trades. I don't care what they say. This is the internet age. Man, look, the internet is not that fucking powerful. It's not. When these young boys recharging the batteries on their phone, guess what? They still in this shit. They still behind the scenes talking to somebody that's telling them, hey man, you gotta stay in this fight. It's them or us. When they should be telling you, nigga, you gotta protect yourself at all costs. When shit gets bad, fuck all of this shit. Run, nigga, run. That's what they should be telling these young boys. Because they not out there fighting these fights. These young boys out there killing themselves, man. They killing other people. They pretty much ruining their entire youth just to live, this fake persona, man. And then not to mention the ones that's coming up. Not to mention the ones that's coming up in this new era of identity that we've created for ourselves. I've had people in my family say that they were Indians. But I've also had people in my family that told me that that Indian shit ain't what you think it is, boy. You think they are here, talking about a nation of people, and they only talking about a small group, a gang. That's all they talking about, you know? And they try to make it seem like everybody was involved in that shit. Everybody wasn't involved in no damn claiming no Indian tribes. Everybody went into to claiming no gangs. Everybody went into joining no damn corporation, no entity to become a group of people that can socialize separate from the systems that we already got set up. You want to separate from the same government that's giving you subsidies? What is wrong with y'all? See, when the serf become too, complacent, they want to become the servers and can't do a lick of better, can't do a lick of good. It's a trip, man. Here we are, a group of people that have contributed to society in this country to such a way that we can take credit for damn near all the things that we have today through our inventions, you know, through our know-how, and we want to sully that shit by claiming some type of tribal entity. I hear these guys talk about this shit all the time. They talk about the $5 Indians. They talk about all of this shit. Ain't no black in law. Only thing that's in law is Indians in law. But they not gonna tell you what law, which part of law is Indians in. They not nowhere else in the Constitution besides in the Commerce Clause. In the Commerce Laws, that's it. In the laws to claim you an entity that wants to do business in the United States. And they didn't even have to do that. They didn't even have to claim to be an entity to do business in the United States. But the only reason why they did is so they can get some of the kickbacks that the United States are earning from all the other corporations that are inside the United States. Because, see, every organization has to pay tithes have to pay dues, and they're not telling you that. That's what they call taxes. When you start a business and you incorporate, guess what that business becomes? That business becomes your tribe. So if you out there, you doing plumbing, and your name is Kendricks, Kendricks Plumbing. Guess what? Kendricks Plumbing is a corporate entity, a tribe of individuals that works in plumbing. What if I don't want to do plumbing, but all people in my family do? Are we now am I known as one of the Kendricks? I'm part of the Kendrick tribe just because I share the same name as them? See, and this is why they stopped using their names. And they started making up names like Cherokee, Choctaw, Seminole, and all that shit. Because if you use your names, then they can tie these associations back to you. Nobody's doing business as themselves no more. They're always doing business as an entity. When you do business as yourself, you get blamed for anything that business is involved in. When you say I'm doing business as me, somebody trip and fall at your establishment, guess who they suing? They suing you because your name is the business. You can try to say that that's a totally different entity, but when they ask you where'd you get the name from and why does it match your name, then you have nothing to fall back on. So they use these fake names. So if anything financially falls in their laps that they had nothing to do with, they could just say, all right, I wash my hands of it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. That's a corporate entity. And now we trying to teach people that this is their people. Like this is a nation. It's not a nation, man. It ain't no but another business here on this land. The only nation that's here on this land is America. That's it. I don't give a fuck where you come from, who you are, or what you've been doing for the past 100 years. It's still not going to supersede what this nation is, America. And see, they would rather you be out here fighting for something that they know that's not even fucking a real thing than to fight over something that is. Why they don't ask these people why they not trying to prove Webster's 1828 dictionary definition of American? Should be easy. See, they didn't say that an American meant a native of this land, an aboriginal, an Algonquin. They didn't say any of that shit. They said an American is the people that were found here by the Europeans, the copper colored people that were found here, now applies to the, the Europeans who are born here. So, what does that tell you? That the first people were here were colored people. But now, since we established a union and we have what we call a nation, all right, of all nations, now it applies to everybody that's born here. And we got to take that into account. And that's how you solidify your place in history. You don't do that by freaking trying to tear down somebody else. Even though these people pay $5 to join these clubs and these associations, they fucking earned it because they had to work. All of these Native Americans that are still on the reservations, that are still trying to hold to these customs, traditions, and rituals and shit, they earn their place in society, especially of America, because they took something that was not taken serious back in the day and they turned it into something that is serious today. And it's a damn shame that now we want to come back and claim that they had nothing to do with that shit. They had nothing to do with that shit because they bought their way into it. But I'm here to tell you guys, we bought our way into it too. You don't think any of them people that were in the tribes before they became colonized And see, when I mean by colonized, I mean by when they were flooded or inundated with people that weren't there before. You think that they didn't pay tithes? How you think they bought all that land? All these people got together, pulled up their money, bought that land, and then to turn around for the people that they put in charge and called chiefs to sell all that shit under their fucking noses. For them to do that, man, was the biggest betrayal in history. And I'm just here to let you guys know, man, that that was done by black people. I know it's fucked up, but it was done by them. They sold that land and then told everybody that they didn't. And now here you are today trying to renege, renegotiate. You see what I'm saying? The terms and policies of the deal that they made. When first of all, you weren't even privy to it. When they signed that land away and made that money and, and and talked those people into leaving peacefully, and some people were talked into not leaving at all, and they were the ones that were evicted from the land. You can't sell something and then tell your people that we need to fight to protect it and keep it, and then don't think that these people ain't gonna come for their money. They're gonna either come for one or two things. They're gonna come for your ass or they're gonna come for their money. This is the shit that we need to be paying attention to. But we ain't paying attention to it because why? Because we got these fringe motherfuckers on the side telling us, government, you shouldn't trust the government. You right, you shouldn't trust people like you, because you were the government. We shouldn't trust people that tell us not to participate in our own well-being. This is our house. You're not gonna put a lock on the fucking door to stop motherfuckers from walking in? Hmm? You ain't gonna arm yourself in case they break in and try to take your shit? You ain't gonna protect your kids. First of all, the protection starts mentally. It doesn't start physically. When you sit up there and lying to people, telling them these fucking stories all these years about they were slaves, and then you turn around and let the information out that there was no slavery, that there was no, oppression, that people worked and earned a living. That's what they did. Everybody didn't sit around and tell motherfuckers what to do. That's what's wrong with these guys now. They all want to be chiefs. I go into some of these chat rooms and everybody got a chief in front of their name. Chief this, chief that, big chief, low chief, high chief, sister chief, brother chief. Man, get the fuck out of here. Ain't all y'all chief. None of y'all capable of controlling yourselves, let alone large numbers of people. You want to sit up here and call yourself a chief? What, all of us are Indians and you running our shit? And see, this is the thing that these people did back in the day. They set up these societies to isolate the public and everybody else in society from these groups. And then the people that were in these groups were subservient to them. Just like they are right now today in these fraternities. You go to the college, you got grown ass men whooping other grown men with paddles. They stopped that shit in elementary school, but you willing to go through that shit in the college? For what? So somebody can say that you part of a group, so you can network and try and make it better for yourself. But what does it do? It doesn't do anything. You just went through all that humiliation ritual for what? So you can say that you this and you that? What about your personal life? How has it improved since you started doing this shit? It hasn't, man. These people lying to you. Just because somebody says that you will benefit from something doesn't mean that it's gonna actually happen. Look at Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King marched, did all that shit for these people, and then guess what? They ain't get shit from it. See, and see, we don't realize, man, that some of these people can be still alive walking around this bitch, chilling, living off the dividends that they acquired on your behalf. See, we don't even recognize that. We don't even recognize that. And see now this right here is where I get into the conspiracy of shit. This is where I get into conspiracy of it. Cause see, we believe just because somebody is reported on television or radio or newspaper that this person is dead, that that is actually true. That is actually true. When they have shown us that obituaries, that newspapers, that even churches have reported people being dead and they were still alive. Still alive, still kicking. See, we got people that fake their deaths every fucking day. Every day. They just get up, leave, start a whole new identity. That old them is dead and gone. And if nobody actually searches and look into this stuff, as far as you know, it's true. As far as everybody knows, it's true. The motherfucker's dead. But he's living the next state over like everybody else. And you would say, why would they lie about something like that? Why would they lie, go to the extent of getting everybody to believe this sad state of events that somebody was killed on their behalf for the for the righteousness of their people, to just turn around and lie about all that shit? Why would they do that? Well, let me tell you why. Greed. Greed is one reason why. And that's the biggest reason why. But there's other reasons too as well, like manipulation. See what I'm saying? And if the manipulation doesn't work, then demoralization. If we can demoralize you, guess what we can do? We can cause a Stockholm syndrome throughout your community that'll get you to sympathize with the same motherfuckers that's been killing you all these years. Look how people come together and support the drug dealers and the gang members when the cops come out there and so-called shoot these people up and kill them. Huh? The community been complaining all these years. They bringing drugs in the community. They shooting up the houses. They killing people, innocent people, babies getting killed, everybody getting killed. But let a cop come out there and kill one of them motherfuckers that's been doing all this shit. Then we black power. Everybody come together. We got to march on the state. We got to do stuff. We got to change this. But no, motherfucker, y'all ain't want to change that shit when these clowns was out there terrorizing y'all, killing y'all people innocently. But no, since it's somebody that don't look like you feel slighted. And that's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. What we should be doing is we should be looking at the fact is that if a person disregards your safety, your well-being, and your pursuit to happiness, they are considered an enemy. It doesn't matter if they the same color as you. It don't matter if times get rough and they fall on hard times and they come a begging for something. You know what I'm saying? They come for your help. The fact still does not change that these people are who they were 6 or 7 months, even 6 or 7 years ago. They still the same people. Just because hard times fell on them, now they want to turn over a new leaf. How long do you think that shit will last? After they get what they want, they're gonna revert back to the same motherfuckers they were, and we see that time and time again, people. But we never fucking try to change it. This ain't just for black people. This is for all races of people. When your people do shit and then turn around and virtue signal and try to use this race manipulation shit, this is the time for us to turn on they motherfucking asses for the tyrants and the manipulators that they are. What them people should have did was, and I think they were doing with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they were turning on them because they were seeing that all the shit that they were saying and all the manipulation that they was doing, that the only people that was benefiting from the shit was them. Martin Luther King used to go to the ghettos and talk to people, large numbers of people. These people would come out sometimes. They would be wearing God knows what, but every time he showed up to them, you would think that he would want to make them feel like he was, you know, somewhat affected by the situation like they were. No, this man showed up every time with an entourage and everybody wearing brand new suits. And everybody that they talking to is just wearing just regular clothes. Why do you think that? Why do you think that he had to come to his people wearing suits and ties, dressed up like the same people that they were saying was tearing him down? Why do you think he had to do that? See, and y'all don't realize, man, that every actor has to be in costume. Every actor has to dress up, put on the makeup before he goes out there and read his script. And if Martin Luther King would have showed up in the hood wearing the same thing that everybody else was wearing, that maybe he wouldn't have been taken seriously. See, and these people know this, the psychology behind it. They know that if you look rich, you seem credible. If you look well to do, you look like you achieved something. And it ain't nothing but a damn monkey suit. It ain't nothing but a damn outfit, a costume. And they use these methods to manipulate us. See? How how else would somebody, manipulate large numbers of people without being caught? What how else would somebody steal large quantities of money and not be suspected? Have them killed. Have them killed. And if you don't have them killed, make them disappear. Now the money has been stolen and we don't know who stole it. It ain't the dead motherfucker because he's gone. He can't enjoy it. But what if the dead motherfucker was just somewhere else? See, now we didn't got into the conspiracy talk of how these so-called leaders manipulate us. Because see, they didn't read the same books we didn't read. Machiavelli, you see what I'm saying? The Bible, they didn't read all of that shit. They know about, you know, uh, pretending you're dead for 3 days and then rising again. How much power that is. It's not the power of the rising again. It's the power of making people think that you're not who you say you are. And then making them think that you not where you say you are. If they can prove that these people didn't get assassinated, like they didn't came back and say Martin Luther King he didn't die from no gunshot wounds. Then they try to turn around and say, oh, he was smothered in the hospital. How do you know this? Oh, an eyewitness came forward and said that that's what happened. But how can you trust this person when it's coming from the same people that told you he was killed in the first place? See, how can you trust this? Look at the shit that they doing right now. Look what they doing with that right now. Salutes. Right now, they got a new Zavruder. Zavruder, I think that's how you say his name. Zavruder. They got a new Zavruder movie out now, film. See, they've been showing since I was a little kid. I say around 10 years old. They've been showing us the same video of JFK getting shot. And the video be so fucked up, be so grainy, that you can barely tell that that's the man who they say is JFK in the first place. But they show you the man getting shot once. Now they got a video out that's clear as day showing him getting shot twice. And not just by the same gun, but by a motherfucker in the front seat of his car. You know how many people been saying for years, and I've been around this bitch for 47 years. You know how many people been saying for years that JFK got shot by his driver before there was a video even out? Don't y'all think that's kind of mysterious? That now they can produce a video that show him getting shot by his driver? Man, we got to stop being so stupid, man. And if they could do that with JFK, man, they could do that with all of these so-called uh, leaders and shit. They could do that with all of them. I mean, shit, they did it with Jesus. They did it with Jesus, man, for 2,000 years, supposedly. They've been tricking motherfuckers talking about some Jesus died on the cross, and then he was re-risen 3 days after. And then gonna tell you that, oh, the Bible is full of allegories. Okay, so is the death and the resurrection, is that an allegory too? And what is it an allegory for? What the hell are they trying to tell us by telling us that this man died and then in 3 days he rose again? They're not trying to tell us that was proof that he was the son of God. I thought the miracles was. And you see how they could just use that shit to manipulate large numbers of people for a long period of time, have people dying believing that a man died on the cross, hung on the cross now. But he didn't die from, being uh murdered on the cross. He just died from being hung on the cross by his hands and his feet. So you just die from being captive nowadays. Back then, people died from being tied up. But what gets me is the fact that people will make religious, they will make religious sacrifices for this. You see what I'm saying? If what Jesus was doing was allegory, if one part of the story was allegory and the other part was not, I don't see how you can blame it. I don't see how you can believe it, first of all. But I don't see how you can blame the motherfuckers that put the message out there for taking advantage of people, because it was that easy to take advantage of people by telling them a story. So you're gonna come and pay me every Sunday if I just keep on screaming at you that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, repenting. You're gonna pay me every day, every Sunday for that. Then shit, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep on saying it. That's what the book says. I'm not going to tell you that it was an allegory and explain to you what the allegory means, because now you no longer need me to scream at you every Sunday and pass around a collection plate. You no longer need me to do that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to the script, and I'm going to keep on leading your dumb ass astray. And you going to give up what you hold most precious, which is your life. You going to give it up. You're going to stop living for this life and start living for afterlife. See? You're going to stop paying attention to what's going on around you, on who's doing what, and you're going to turn the other cheek. And you're going to let them keep doing what they doing, because you ain't got to worry about that, because you're going to live better in the afterlife. So, hold on. The Jesus miracles were allegories. The walking on water was allegory, but not the death and resurrection, as well as the afterlife. We ain't seen none of that shit, but we believe it wholeheartedly. If there was a lie being told in any story, believe me, I don't care how much truth you put in that bitch. It's a lie. The whole story's a lie. Once I find out you lied about one part of the story, oh, the whole story's a fucking lie to me. You might as well get your lying ass away from me, because I ain't gonna never believe nothing you say unless it's proven by my hands, not by yours. Ain't nothing you can say to me again that's gonna prove that you ain't a liar. And this is why they will go to the grave with this shit. That's why Martin Luther King is going to be looked at like a superhero as long as black people still believe that he got assassinated on their behalf. When in actuality, this man ain't get assassinated at all. Still probably walking around this bitch. But I don't think so, because right now he'd be over 100. You know what I'm saying? You have people that didn't even know that the man's name wasn't even Martin Luther King. That he changed his name because it had more fame attached to it. Martin Luther, the Protestant, what they call him, the Protestant uh, non-violent protester of the Catholic Church. Yeah. He changed his name from Michael. Name wasn't even King. If you believe the man's name was King, then you must believe his name is Martin Luther. The whole name is fabricated. The whole persona behind the reason why is fabricated. The same thing with Malcolm X. That wasn't his real name. Y'all don't realize that these people were failed actors back in the day. Couldn't make it in the arts, so became revolutionaries. So when you can't fool them, then you need to join them. But instead of just joining them as part of their congregation, let's join them as what they call them, conscientious objectors. We're going to pay like we resisting, but we're not going to really resist. You know what I'm saying? We're going to resist all the way up into the point of resistance. And this is the reason why so many black people are stupid today. So stupid. And refuse to move out of them zoos that they call hoods, that they call neighborhoods. Black people, man, you ain't got to live amongst one another to be considered black. You ain't got to live right up under each other, like rats on top of each other and shit. Living in these fucking, man, when I was growing up in the hood. I used to wonder why when we spray for roaches, our neighbors get affected. And when our neighbors spray for roaches, we get affected. Because, man, we living in the same house together. We just got walls up. That's all. We still in the same house. We still in the same building. We still in the same box. And that's demoralizing, man. When you do everything you can to keep your shit clean, but the nigga next to you is fucking dirty, disgusting, trifling. And he just don't give a fuck. And all of his trash and his nasty disgustingness is affecting you every day. See? This is what people gave up to be, a follower of the tribe. Most of these neighborhoods that right now that we know of as being ghettos, as being like you know, places where black people congregate in large numbers, these were owned by the gangs and the tribes. These were the reservations. Some of these guys that's telling you right now to look up your genealogy is telling you this, that them neighborhoods that they're gentrifying right now are actually the old reservations that black people used to live in. And why? Why do you think that? That everybody else had nice individual homes, but a lot of black people had public housing. Because when the chief is getting all of this money from the government to build proper homes for their tribes members, they pocketed 80% of it, and the other 20% only bought low budget shit. See? But the chief, he had a nice big ass house. The chief had a big ass house. He had people from the tribe working in it, keeping him satisfied. But you had to go live amongst one another, share living quarters, and spread your germs to each other. You know what I'm saying? You lived in squalor where these motherfuckers lived high off the hog on your behalf. See? And now we look at it like today they coming in and they buying up all these properties and they gentrifying everything. But guess what? They not coming in and buying them from nobody. The state don't own none of this land. All of this land is owned by individual families. And who do you think is getting the money for this so-called gentrification of these neighborhoods that used to be all black owned, but now are beginning to be Hindu or Indian, Asian, you know what I'm saying? Caucasian owned homes and neighborhoods. You think that these people are stealing this stuff or buying it from the government? No, they buying it from black people. Black people that have got their use out of the land and no longer can use it no more, not to the extent that they want to. So why not make a quick buck? So all them homes that was sold up in LA that they say was sold due to gentrification was actually sold through black empowerment. So you want to blame somebody for why you no longer live in the same neighborhood your grandparents lived in and their grandparents lived in? Well, look around. Look around. A lot of these people that you're looking at that are making the most noise about these people buying up these homes are the ones that sold it. See? And they want you to think that they are being taken advantage of just like you are. But when they go home at night, oh, they take off the blackness and they put on the American. And they look at their bank accounts and they count them zeros and they're like, fuck y'all. That's what they doing. And they always been doing that. They always been doing that. How the fuck we invent every fucking invention known to man, but not have nothing to show for it? You know why? Because the motherfuckers that invented it sold it. That's capitalism, my boy. That's capitalism. You don't just make shit for the betterment of people. No, you make shit for the betterment of you. If I invent something today, I'm not gonna dedicate it to black people. I'm gonna sell that shit to get some money, to make some money. Now, if my people get to use it, that's cool. But I'm not gonna set some aside particularly for them because they my race. No, that's not how life is. It's never been like that. But you got these clowns, they call themselves chiefs. Oh yeah, we need to produce something. But my boy, look around. We done produced everything. We done just sold it. We done sold it all. And that's rightfully what's supposed to be done. You know, we don't build houses no more. Guess what? We pay people to build them for us. We don't farm our own land no more. Guess what? We either sell it or we pay people to farm it for us. This shit does not happen overnight, man. This shit is like generations of fuckery that's been going on. People getting rich off their own families because they families are in the dark about, excuse me, backroom private deals and shit. That's the reason why this shit's happening. Not because motherfuckers are being tricked off their land, eminent domain and fucking all this other stupid shit that these guys be trying to bring up to prove that, they are the true owners of the land. No, man, all of that shit is made up. Ain't nobody ever just came up and owned some shit. That's not how it works. Your family just don't inherit land from nobody. That's not how it works. Even if you live on the land, there's still a cost to be in control of the land. That's called work. See, if you got land, hundreds of acres, right, and you only live on 1 acre of land, what you think that other land is going to become? Undeveloped, right? When your relatives die and they only work that 1 acre of land, and other people have started to encroach on the other 99 acres, guess what? You no longer own that land. Because if they're working the land and they're developing the land, you can't just come and fucking kick them off and say, this is my land and now everything you've done on it is for nothing. You out your motherfucking mind. Them people that work their ass off to develop that land into something productive, and now your lazy ass want to come along and say it's mine and I deserve the benefits of it. Man, what kind of shit is that? That's the type of shit we pulling on each other right now. Talking about some we Indians and all the foreigners got to go home. That's the serve trying to be the servers. I don't even realize this shit, man. The government ain't supposed to be uh your friend. They're supposed to be your servant. There's a lot of crazy shit going on with people, man. And when we slow down and think about it, we'll come to a realization that we've been used all along. And the people we really need to check and test and cut our eyes at and suspect look just like us. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Because just because you look like me don't mean you gonna feel like me. Everybody feels their own way. And if you fucking up, you need to be pointed out. You fucking up. And in my opinion, a lot of these so-called civil rights leaders and black leaders from back in the day were fuck ups that found out a way to capitalize on other people's ignorance. You think Martin Luther King was a preacher all his life? His dad wasn't even a preacher all his life. These people started off as gamblers, swindlers, drinkers, fucking womanizers. And then at the end of their life, they started to realize that this shit ain't profitable. I need to do something else. And they took the skills that they learned as a deviant and they honed them and they turned them into something that benefits them and their family. They started churches. You see what I'm saying? They started businesses. That's what a church is, a business. And your business is to decipher the Bible. That's what your business was. But they didn't do that. All they did was talk about prosperity. Same shit that they do today. Prosperity preachers are the richest motherfuckers in the United States. We talking about billionaires. How you a preacher at a church and a billionaire at the same time? You know why? Because they took the con and they turned it into a a business. They turned it into a business. And since you got so many naive and ignorant people running around here, it's very profitable. Very profitable. Yep, very profitable. But you can learn something from it, though. You can learn how these people did this. And then you can start to utilize it for yourself. You don't have to be as nefarious as they were and take advantage of people to the point where you manipulate them into doing shit that's going to be harmful to them. No, you don't have to do that. But you can utilize your knowledge and understanding to advance yourself. You can do that. Look at content creators. Man, you know how many niches there are on the internet, on these platforms? Man, there's not too many. But you got millions of people that are benefiting from those few niches. You know what I'm saying? And then there's people that are, that can make up niches that people can benefit from. But we're all utilizing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? We got communities right now. I didn't even know that this was possible. That people that subscribe to your channels and stuff become your community. They become your sectors. When I used to hear people talk about communities and sectors, I thought that there was something outside of the internet. But no, this shit is actually a virtual fucking community. Where people can tap in every day, all day, if they wanted to. And see, when you got people that can see the profit in that, oh man, the sky's the limit. We got people that are millionaires, made their first millionaire, their $1,000,000 exploiting their own people. Yeah, exploiting their own people. When you feel like you can tell your people a lie and then they turn around and support you for that lie, I mean, look at all the flat earthers. Look at all the globe earthers. They do this shit every day. I mean, I know a couple of them that are just grifting off they people, selling them inferior products. You got a motherfucker sell calendars that had all the wrong dates on them. And you think anybody fucking complained about it? No. Mm-mm. They didn't, because they figure like this person is beyond reproach. You know, he knew that those calendars had the fucking wrong date on them before he sent them out. If he didn't know about it, then you would be able to send it back and get a refund. Guess what he said? Nah, no refund, y'all. But you can keep it because, you know, because I sent it to you. I'll give you something else in return. This nigga just sold you a lie. And then gonna talk about he gonna give you a trinket to make up for it. Man, that right there should have been the straw that broke the camel's back with a bunch of people. But nah, man. Motherfucker was like, that was an accident. Wait until the next time happens. What you gonna say then? What's gonna be the excuse then? Oh, he didn't really mean it. He was probably down on his luck. Yeah, he was probably down on his luck. And he gotta be ashamed of himself. You know? Went from peddling crystals to peddling calendars. How you go from peddling crystals, rocks that you find off the ground now, selling them to people, not even in a brick and mortar. This nigga selling them online. Crystals now. And then you go from selling crystals to selling calendars with the wrong dates. The fuck is going on? And motherfuckers is still following them. Talk about a glutton for punishment. You gotta be a glutton for punishment to sit up there and let somebody, send you something that's not even what you wanted, and then tell you you can't get your money back, or I'll send you a crystal. What the fuck? You gonna send me a crystal? I didn't pay for no fucking crystal. I paid for a calendar. I was expecting 12 months of accurate dates on this bitch. But you gonna give me a damn crystal now, nigga? What the fuck is wrong with you? But see, this is the shit that we do. This is the excuses we make up for people. And imagine how many people back in the civil rights days were making up excuses for Martin Luther King. Martin, why the people ain't got their money yet? Oh, we still working, brothers and sisters. We still going to Washington, and when we go there, we gonna get our check. Not knowing that this nigga already got the check. He done already deposited, cashed it, bought some shit. He partying behind the scenes. And you still over there rubbing your hands like that money coming. I know that money coming. Only for this nigga to fake his own death and get away scot-free with all the money. See? To get away scot-free with all the money. Now, he ain't the only one that did that shit. He ain't the only one that got something out of it. There was the rest of them too. You know what? This is the thing that I would have been asking back in the day. So Mr. King got killed. So who gonna take his place? Nobody stood up to take the man's place. That should tell you right there what was going on. Oh, the jig is up. The game is over. The game is over. You know what I'm saying? He didn't empty the coffers. Because look, these people could not operate and travel from all these places without money. They couldn't have their suits dry cleaned, brand new suits. They couldn't have done that without money. Where the fuck was they getting the money from if all he was doing was marching? See, this is the shit that people don't understand. Martin Luther King was a preacher, right? Was supposedly a preacher. But all he did was write poems and speeches. He didn't run a church. So he didn't have congregations to pay tithes. But how was he able to pay for that nice house he had, them nice cars, them mink coats and fucking brand new suits and be able to march from these places and live in these hotels while they was going from state to state to do all this shit. How was he able to do that? Somebody had to be funding him. Was it government? Did he have some private donors? And if he did, why wasn't nobody getting none of that money besides him? You out there telling these people, you talking about these people ain't got money, they don't have utilities, they don't have running water. These people, my people, suffering. But we got to go get on this plane and go to Washington, D.C. We'll meet you there, my friends. And we go get our check. Get the fuck out of here, man. I would have been blew that shit out the water a long time ago. That shit would have been floating upside down in the water, fucking with me. Matter of fact, they would have probably killed me instead of him because I would have blew the fucking rim off of that shit. Hold on, man. We didn't march with you in 3 different states. Nigga, I know how much it costs for me to get here. How the fuck is you paying for all these people to caravan and fly all these places with you? What is going on? We talking about in a time where people were broke. But you walk around this bitch in brand new suits. Your wife walking around in mink coats and fancy hats and shit. Everybody else walking around, they barely got clothes on. And then when they show up to the march, that shit get bit up off of them by dogs, sprayed up off of them with hoses, beat up off of them by the cops. God damn. This nigga, he have no remorse. You know what? After seeing the first march or protest go afoul like that, I would have been like, I cannot do this to my people. I cannot have my people out here getting beat on my behalf like this. I can't. You know, if we're gonna go out here and we're gonna protest this shit, or we're gonna be conscientious objectors to the rules of the law, then I think that first of all, me as a leader, I need to be an example. That man faked one arrest, and the arrest was so fabricated that the nigga had his hands handcuffed in front of his body. When do they handcuff motherfuckers in the front? When they acting. When they gonna go easy on them? You know what I'm saying? If you in a racist, you know what I'm saying, Jim Crow, you know, sundown town, and the cops come out there calling you boy, nigga, get the fuck out of here, and they handcuff you and they don't put your arms behind your fucking spine, your neck, and break your shit, then you ain't really getting arrested. You being escorted. See? Motherfuckers ain't noticed that back then. They was too caught up in the I don't know, in the emotion of it. Dr. King, free King, free King, free King. And then on top of that, they arrest your ass and then you out the next day. Anybody else was a snitch. I'm telling you, I'm just saying. Anybody else would have did that, got arrested, then the next day they out on bail, and they were supposedly being arrested by some racist cops, and they just out on the street the next day having speeches and shit. They was a snitch. See, nobody even thought about that shit. But see, he didn't have to be a snitch to get that treatment. All he had to do was be a clever businessman. See? And back then, manipulation was the businessman's tool. You know, look how they manipulated the stock market at that time. By word of mouth. There wasn't no loss in commodities or money and shit behind their stuff. It was all word of mouth. Yeah, it was word of fucking mouth. But see, when you start pointing stuff out like that, guess what people start saying to you? Oh, you a hater. You a Uncle Tom. You all this shit besides helpful. You all of that shit besides helpful. And it's a shame, man, that we gotta go down this road to where a nigga has to go as far as offending you to make you listen to what he's trying to say. I don't talk like this because, I had a choice. I talk like this because I was one of those people that believed wholeheartedly in all of that shit. I was like, man, you know, civil rights, yes, we need this, we need that. Black people are being oppressed. I was just like that until I actually slowed down and said, hold on, what are we being oppressed by? You know what I'm saying? Is this something that we have no control over? Is this something that we are victims of just because we are who we are? And then I start to realize that's not what it is. That's not what it is. You know, how you gonna fucking, be afraid of something that really has no effect on you? How you gonna be convinced by something that has no substance? How? I mean, if you convinced that the civil rights movement was a great thing for black people, then just think about it. Who do you know that has prospered from anything civil rights related? Same thing with this affirmative action and DEI shit. Who do you know that's been affected positively by it? It's like we fight for shit that we hope one day we would be affected by positively. And then when we find out that the shit that has nothing to do with us, we feel stupid instead of just fucking, talking shit about it and throwing it out the window and telling the people that, man, DEI was full of bullshit. Instead of actually being for diversity, equity, and inclusion, they used it for shit like transgender surgeries and all of this shit. When people found that stuff out, you think they would fucking be like, DEI was bad. I'm behind get rid of that shit. You know what they did? They doubled down. Oh, y'all just want to take away this shit so y'all can oppress us even more. The fuck out of here. No wonder your people were able to do you the way they did you all these years. No wonder they were able to get you to talk you into giving away your life savings, to sell your land. No wonder your own people were able to sell you off to another group of people and you go along with it and actually fucking agree with it. You see what I'm saying? No wonder they were able to do that. Because when you're that stupid, anybody can. Might as well be your own people. Might as well. See? And when you think like that and you realize that if I had this mentality the whole time, my people probably wouldn't have even been through that shit. My relatives wouldn't have went through that shit. See, my people, I saw when I was a little kid firsthand how dumb niggas can ruin it for everybody. See, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little story. I had an incident where people in my family sold land and shit like that, and lost land because they were greedy and they didn't want to work together. Yeah, and then when the story came back around, they were like, well, what happened to the land? All the white folks took it. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. 5 years ago, everybody was saying, yo, dumbass. Didn't want to pay the bill. Didn't want to pay for it. They thought some people was just going to let it go. Yeah, they let it go, all right. They let your ass go. And we got let go right along with you. And see, and this is the shit that people do. They want to blame their fucking dumbass decisions on other people because it sounds good. I ain't with that shit no more. I'm with the shit that if you make your bed, you better fucking sleep in it. And don't go get other people to sleep in it with you so you be comfortable. No, nigga, you need to sleep in that shit by yourself, solitarily. And that's why a lot of homes were broken up. That's why a lot of families split up. And we looking at it today, talking about they got rid of the family unit. No, they didn't. They ain't have shit to do with that. You have people in your family that were such dumbasses that the people in the family could no longer stand looking at they dumbass. So we gonna leave you where you fucking stand, dumbass. And that was the last thing they ever did to the family. That's why a lot of families today, they are broken, but they still have some form of stability inside of them because they were able to get away from the ignorance. But those stories weren't told. Those stories were hidden. Those stories right there were another story was told to replace it. Because if you found out that every major family that had people that were successful, that built up their families and did something, that there was one person in the family or a few people in the family that fucked it all up, and now we all broke and we've been broke for years because of it, yeah, you got to make up a lie to cover all that shit up. You got to make up a lie to cover all that shit up. You got to tell a story that's going to hide all that shit because if you don't, all y'all going to look like dumbasses, especially to the young people that see shit the way it is. The older you get, I think people become delusional, not only because of old age, it's because they look back on their life and they see all the problems and the pain that they cause, and they don't want to be responsible for that no more. You know, you get to a certain age and you just need some forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? You need some forgiveness. You need people to stop hating you and just accept you. So why not just virtue signal the rest of my old age and say, it's been the white man. It's been other people's fault that I'm like this. When no, nigga, it was you. You the one did this. You the one sold the land for peanuts, and then now you're trying to say you were tricked when you had every opportunity, just like everybody else, to know what a trick was. But you decided you wanted to go along with it because at the time it benefited you. And now you want to create all of these stories about how you were this and you were that and how things were. But in actuality, things are just the way they were back then that they are right now. You making horrible decisions today, just like you made horrible decisions back then. And it's just that you don't need to be in a position of making decisions for other people. You need to be in the back of the fucking class with a big ass dunce hat on. Shut your old dumb ass up. You know, go and clean your false teeth. Because right now that's the only thing you have control of. And that's how things should be. I'm all about respecting your elders, man. But sometimes we need to recognize when our elders ain't got it all upstairs. When they ain't about nothing. Because some of these old people are still practicing that old shit that they was doing back in the day. That gatekeeping shit, keeping secrets, telling lies, covering up shit for each other. You know, and they try to act like it's for the greater good. I'm doing this for the family. No, you ain't, bitch. If you're doing it for the family, guess what? You wouldn't have us out here pretending to be Indian. You would not have us out here pretending. You would tell us exactly what that is. That it ain't nothing but a business. It ain't nothing but a social club that pooled their money together to buy land. And on that land, they acted and did whatever the fuck they wanted to do. Even killed each other. Y'all ain't learned from fucking Jim Jones? You think Jim Jones and them people out there weren't a tribe? Man, they was claiming tribes. That's how they got them out there. You guys need to be part of the tribe. This is what our ancestors did, lived off the land. He got them people out there and abused them mentally and then took them out. Took them all out. That's some cold shit. Look at the Nuwapians. Huh? I bet ain't nobody claiming Nuwapian now, huh? Except for them crazy motherfuckers that's still trying to fight for it. I bet you ain't nobody claiming Nuwapian. And guess what? Every fucking tribe did this. You got people talking about some they historians talking about the Cherokees had slaves. No, nigga, who you think that was? That was them abusing their family members. Talking about some they had slaves. I guess Jim Jones had slaves too. All the motherfuckers that voluntarily drank that shit and poisoned themselves, huh? You see how many people can be deceived and then can be the deceivers at the same time? It's a trip, man. It's a trip. Heed my words, y'all. Heed my words. This ain't popular shit. It ain't gonna never be popular. But at the same time, some people are gonna get this and they're gonna run with it. That's how it should be. But I think I done beat that dead horse long enough. Look, man, don't trust nobody. Do your own thing and only socialize with like-minded people. Salutes to the real ones.